everyone. I'm glad we could make it, and I do apologize. Normally, Mr. Caddy normally calls the meeting to session and direct us to go over the minutes to ensure that it could be approved, or if there are issues with it, that it could be addressed. So, with consent of the RA, until Nick is able to join us, can we put aside Robert's rules that dictates that the Sergeant at Arms call for the reading of the minutes and just proceed to do so?
Hey, Ernie, just so you know, I just got in. I just finished my home instruction. Yeah.
Please, can you call the meeting to order?
Yes. So we're going to call the meeting to order, and while Ernie's, going over the agenda, if we could just look at the minutes from the last meeting and just make sure that they look accurate. And while I'm speaking, I'm just going to ask, the Treasury report is also in that email. So if you want to look that over as well for the end of the meeting, that would also be great.
Thanks, Nick. Can you call for a motion, Nick?
Yes. Do we have approval on the minutes? We need a first and a second.
First.
Thank you. Who was that? I apologize.
No problem, Nick. It was Anthony DeGori. How you doing, buddy?
Thank you. How are you?
Good.
And then we just need a second. Thanks, Ralph.
Okay, great, guys. And again, once again, I thank you for being here. We'll expedite this, but we will spend as much time as we possibly can and or need to answer questions as they come up. I may go back and forth with certain items, but as usual, we'll cover everything as best that we can. As we all know, things are constantly changing, but for starters, starting with Unit 1, as you know, during the last meeting, we were submitting intent to negotiate. We have submitted that. We have not had any meetings whatsoever regarding negotiations. We are right now gathering all the surveys to see what is it that is important to our members. But I'm going to combine the Unit 1 and Unit 10 because we're handling both at the same time. As you know, Unit 1 is about to expire. Unit 10 is already expired. So what we're working on right now is getting to the position where we can sit down and dissect what the members are expecting or hope for. I have not looked at it directly. We just started. The executive board is going to get together and go over it. The reason we do it in this way is that a lot of times members are asking for something that sometimes we cannot negotiate under the rules, under PERB and the Taylor law. You know, items are negotiable, non-negotiable, and then you have you can work on it. So we're primarily going to focus on what is negotiable and non-negotiable, and we will make sure by the next meeting we have that information to the members. The reason we may not be able to tackle item J is because it's non-negotiable. Just so that members know, why is it that we didn't directly address a specific item? Right? I'm sorry. Somebody had a question? Oh, sorry. Okay. Now, while we're doing this, we are getting also ready to prepare a proposal to BOCES and then get a proposal from them. In the interim, what we're also doing is we reached out to NICET to get us a report summary of what the other districts are doing. Not just locally, we focus primarily in our 18 districts, but we also look further, including upstate New York, as to what they are doing, how they are negotiating. And I reached out to our LRS on Monday, and they will be putting that together. They will be getting us information on what the most recent settlements are. And what we need to do is figure out where we can work with this. One thing that they did tell me is that the recent settlements, until we have that data to really analyze it and have a discussion with other districts, the recent settlements don't seem to be bad. But don't hold me to this word, but I believe she had said, I was driving at the time, I believe I was told that, I believe Hauppauge, or one of these districts, not ours, but close to us, proposed to their, the association, their association, to reopen the contract to do givebacks. That's the only word in a negative way that I've heard. So far, they have been able to settle, and it seems like it was equitable. So until we have that data, we don't know what to do. So we can't submit to BOCES any proposals until we have that in place. So just let members be aware. We can't just go in there to negotiate unless we have data to as ammunition to present to them. So we are currently in the middle of this. So Lisa, keep in mind, your husband maybe have to do TV dinners for the next couple of days. Just kidding. Hopefully somebody take the trip. So we're going to make sure that we get all that data correct. That's equally for Unit 1 and Unit 10 right now. Any questions on that? So I can put that a little aside. No? One of the things, I will share this, we were having a discussion with the executive board a few days ago where, some people have suggested, well, include the like the situation we're in right now, COVID and stuff like that. I am a believer that what has worked best for us is to never tie ourselves up in anything where, let's say we get a contract for 7 years. I'm exaggerating, it never happened, but for a number of years, is to, whenever we have a situation like this, we negotiate it and we renew it, meaning every year we have to go back and renew it based on what's going on. It has worked very well when it came to Medicaid and a number of issues we've had. We have to sign an agreement separately as opposed to making it part of your 3-year contract. It's a tricky situation. You don't want to lock yourself in, one. And two, could we have, gripes and issues that may affect a 1-year contract? Well, so far the track record shows that it has worked, that we avoid connecting one thing with the other when we don't know what's going to happen as we move forward. So I just wanted to let you know that we've been talking about that. So if anyone feel that they have an opinion on it, please share it with us so that we can better be able to make decisions on that. Mentor stipends. I want to talk about this one real quick. I just got off the phone maybe an hour ago with Dr. Giganti. I sent him my records, or in the middle of it, I did ask Lisa to send him our spreadsheet. Our spreadsheet doesn't tell me who was paid, who was not, but I can say who was connected to who fulfilled their obligations and should be paid. And if you were not familiar with this, this is where a lot of our members did not receive their stipend. And as far as I'm concerned, I believe within this, well, we're on break, but we still have to be working anyway, or at least myself, is by next week for them to reconciliate these people getting their stipend. And to do that, they're going to cross-reference, I don't know what, but they're going to have to cross-reference because all the paperwork was submitted by the directors. We submitted what the members did, and we don't know what went wrong in payroll. So just so everybody knows, and the minute we get it cleared that everything was done, everything is accurate, then I will ask that BOCES immediately send forward those stipends, which should have been gone out by your last paycheck. So we're trying to fix that. We had a number of things come up, but that check you should get before June. And you know, and I recognize that there are a lot of people, some people that are owed, I don't know, about $2,000. That's a chunk of change, given where we are. So we're on it. My hope is that by next week we'll have everything cleared up, and we could submit to BOCES that you need to pay these people immediately. So that will be done as soon as everything is settled with that. Unit 9 contract, we still have not been able to make any other changes. There's still far, and just FYI, so everybody knows, we settled a contract roughly 2 years ago. Somebody can correct me on that, but none of the things that should have been implemented were implemented. I'm not going to go crazy on it, but the biggest issue that I have with it, and I believe with full support from the executive board, is the issue with not reconciliating their sick time appropriately, which has now started to create another snowball. But we're having to deal with it individually. On one point to that, when it comes to sick time, some members so far, and if anyone, and please, this is a little tricky, but if you're a Unit 9 person and or you directly interact with them, please advise them that if they show negative in sick time, it's not accurate necessarily. And don't get me wrong, it's not accurate necessarily. BOCES is not updating it correctly. Now, they need to look at their WINCAP numbers, look at what they've used as sick time, and once they do that, let us know. But even so, in the Unit 9 contract, they have a mechanism that says, if we have inclement weather, you're allowed to use sick time for that. And some members were reluctant or confused. They didn't know whether they could or could not. They should automatically submit. For example, we were off last Monday and Tuesday, not off, but you know what I mean. And those members are entitled to apply to that, even though their days may say negative. I need to know if anyone has a question with that, because I know that's tricky. Are we still here? Are we clear? They can apply. They definitely can apply. There should be no problems. It should be a process, and they're paid without any penalties. They should be able to go forward and do it. I want to make it clear, and if there are questions, please let us know on that one. Now, a second Unit 9 item I need to clarify right now with this is we have the situation, not just Unit 9, it affected Unit 1 and Unit 9, where you were directed to stay home as a safety mechanism due to COVID. And what was happening in the beginning, it was happening across BOCES. It was not just CTE Unit 9, it was everyone, where you were being charged what they call COVID sick or sick COVID. I can't say it right, but we went back to 507. We worked it out that no, when a member is asked, when I say the word ask, I'm referring to BOCES saying, well, stay home until, you get further information from the Department of Health, and you are automatically remote, fully remote, of course, you should not be charged in any way. And it was happening, but most buildings corrected it, except on the Dix Hills campus. It did go away and it came back. And we have a number. Today, because Dr. Giganti wasn't here, handled 2 more people where they were charged. They haven't restored their days. And it is a problem. All right. And those are not considered COVID days. They are, again, please don't misunderstand. I'm trying to think of the simplest way to put it. When you were told to stay home, you continue performing your duties. Thereby, you're not on the COVID. You are doing the job, except that you're doing it from a different location and by using a different tool, which is obviously the remote. All right. So if anyone, and I say this more because it happened more on the CTE side and primarily on the Dix Hills campus. If anyone is aware of this, let us know, and we will handle it. We will make sure we give that information to Dr. Giganti. What makes it tricky to request from him to look into it fully is that there are cases where it had to be COVID sick. Am I clear with that? Am I making sense? I'm just trying to, there are cases that should have been, but no one that went fully remote should be charged COVID sick. And if that's the case, then we need to have them restore their days immediately, especially when their days could impact that it looks like they're negative in days and possibly they get docked when they should not have been docked. So just so that is clear. Any questions on that? Just so I can. No questions? Okay. And Jen? Yes. Are you manning this? I mean, so because you're better at looking at that at the same time. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely doing that.
Okay. COVID-19 test vaccine. Of course, you have said this before. We don't know where we're heading, but as usual, we're pushing for the agency to engage in these needs to test and to offer vaccines. I learned last week that I've heard before, but I couldn't confirm it. But I learned last week that Buffalo Hills have a mechanism, I believe, and don't hold me to it, I don't have the document on me, that next week or the week after, they're going to be vaccinating their members. And they're doing it, actually, bear with me and I could go back. I did check with them and I understand, and this sounds a little convoluted, but I'm going to explain this. I did reach out. I learned that they were apparently giving vaccines to their members or their staff. And it shows here, I reached out to them and the answer I got was, this is a list, they partnered with AccuHealth, House Meds, Advanced Cardiovascular Testing, LI Urgent Care. They've partnered with a number of health facilities or health organizations to provide not only testing, but vaccines. In other words, I got to click back to bear with me, you guys. Okay. To provide vaccines, to provide testing. And it seems to be working for them. I had a conversation last night with Mike Flynn. My understanding is that BOCES, has been working with Northwell and Urgent Care to try to see how we can perhaps get one of them in our agency to help us out with this. So it's in the works. I also, when I received the information from Half Hour Hills regarding the other two agencies, we sent it over to Mike Flynn to consider if he can partner with them. What I did learn is that urgent care, the way it worked is that they worked out with some, I don't want to say district necessarily, it's a little confusing. They worked out with, even though they are school districts. I don't know how many of us are familiar with what's called a PDO, which is some districts, Deer Park, Half Hollow Hills, Suffolk Community College, and I believe, if I understood it correctly, there are about 17. And these are facilities that are designated as a form of a emergency type response location. You know, I'm going to exaggerate a little bit because the only way I remember it as a kid, like, you know, it's like a nuclear bomb shelter. So you are first to be considered in response to anything, be it a pandemic, be it a, you know, a war, whatever the case may be, you are first considered. And I learned that Half Hollow Hill is one of those locations. Deer Park is another. Suffolk Community is another. Who the others are, I don't know exactly. We'll look it up down the road. So what I'm basically saying, and I did ask a friend of mine over in Half Hollow Hills, can he look into it? He wasn't 100% sure, but he did mention it is definitely possible that they got that priority to get any windows to participate. All right, so I don't know the facts 100%, but I just want you to make you aware of that. Right now, in my conversation with Mr. Flynn last night, is he's doing everything he can to get the next possible slot and try to make it in a way that we could get it in more of one of our buildings. So they're working on that. How effective or how good it's going to be, I don't know, but that's being worked on. Also, along those lines, we also recently learned that the town, through the Association of Superintendents, came to an understanding with the Department of Health to provide to special ed staff the vaccine. And their plan is to roll it out by next week. If you are a special ed member or staff, then you should have gotten an email last night asking you somewhat of a survey. Do you want to participate in this? I did not see the email, but I'm aware the email went out last night. When I say last night, roughly 6 o'clock, to try to figure out the number of people that are interested in this. This is going to take me a little time to explain, and hopefully people understand it. So you should have gotten that email, and I believe it should be coming from Ms. Frigetta. But that email is asking you, do you want to take the vaccine? We'll make it available. It should be starting next week. I believe there is number one, a limited number of days that it will be available. And then once you submit, yes, you're interested, or, you know, once you submit you're interested, BOCES will be getting the numbers, and then we'll proceed to submit that number to the Department of Health. Once they do that, you will now get another email with a link on how to pick or choose where you are, you could be vaccinated. Now, I just need a little help from, there's a little bit more to this, but Ms. Anderson, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Can you give a little bit of background on this? Because I did not see that document, and you've been through it, so you might help us with
Right. So, I mean, just not knowing the totality of information, I'm going to do my best to compare it to how the process went when speech counselors, OTPT, were made eligible about, mid-January. So last night, the email went out from Nancy Fischetti with a Google document attached to the email, kind of canvassing for people's interest in getting a vaccine. There's been a lot of vaccines earmarked for special ed teachers and special ed paraprofessionals within, we're not really sure the total catchment area, but we think, Western Suffolk Bosse is Eastern Long Island. So when we did it, you submitted your interest, and this time it's a Google document. So you would fill out the Google document, and then once they submit that back to the county or the Superintendent's Association, you were provided a link. When we did it, it was a link to like 2 or 3 sites, which I think are going to be similar this time. I believe it's Brentwood and Riverhead campuses of Suffolk County Community College. And you were provided a link that brought you directly to the appointment booking site, and you saw the days and the times that were available for choosing.
Devin, sorry. You have more?
No, I'm just, there was just something that came in through the chat. Yes, Teresa, you're absolutely right. I thought the same thing. The email was not super clear unless you clicked on the link, which I thought some people might be hesitant to do because we've been getting those phishing emails. But yeah, when you clicked on the link, you saw what it was. And I think they were just trying at our urging to get that email and that information out to members as quickly as possible. So Ernie, I'm not sure if you wanted me to touch on anything else about that or if anybody had any questions.
No, but thanks, Devin. No, because I just wanted to share that we had to make sure that this got out as soon as possible. At least you got that email before we even had this meeting today. And yes, the vaccine is being made available. And as Devin said, here's the opportunity. Two sites were available. And my understanding, there are going to be the same 2 sites, except that what I learned, I don't know if this number is going to change. I am waiting for a call from Mike Flynn. He was in a meeting an hour ago that we learned. And here's the catch, which is something that I don't know how this works. At length, we had conversations with 507 and they had no answers. But what I'm going to say is this. What was said is there are 2,300 vaccines available. And we asked the question, okay, who is it for? Well, the question is, it's supposed to blanket special ed in the county. Here's the problem. If we take Eastern, we take any district that has their special ed, this is not even a tenth of what you probably need. So what I would urge members, and as you talk to the members, is look, not only members, I have to say staff, because this includes aides and anyone that is directly involved in special ed. It is to say, look, be looking, say if you're interested, if you want to do it, say yes, you want to do it. Let Bosse submit the numbers as quickly as possible. I don't know I don't know the exact timeline. I believe it's tomorrow. Say, hey, I'm interested, so that Bosse can submit. We have, 10, 100, 200 people that are interested. And I will urge that once you get your link, sign up. I don't know how the process works. Bosse could not give me a definite on how it worked. I reached out to Brentwood to figure out how is it being done. They couldn't figure it out. So I would urge people to, members, staff, to be looking out for that email. Make sure, if you definitely want to make sure you get that vaccine as soon as you can, is that look out for that email and submit. I don't know the process. Devin was explaining it to me last night, that you don't necessarily get the time you want, and it takes a process. So as soon as you get that link, please go forward and sign up. Now, what I didn't know, and I questioned it at length yesterday, was, well, who gets priority here? If we got 10,000, but 10,000 people that want to get the vaccine, but you only have right now 2,300. I don't know if that will change. If that's all you got, who's going to get priority? First come, first serve? I don't know. So I would only say that I will.
Marty, most of these sites, I'm calling you Marty, I apologize. Ernie, most of these sites that come up, although not, have been first come, first serve. So even though you're submitting that you're eligible and you're interested, it's probably going to be a first come, first serve basis. And, members should pay attention to their email and, make an appointment if they want it.
Right. And
It's
again,
not going to be a guarantee, it's going to be keep hitting your update button so you can try to get it.
Right. And again, that's where I just was exploding yesterday, because I couldn't figure out how you're going to decipher this. All right. You're telling 10,000 people, I'm making up a number. I don't know what the numbers are, but you're telling so many people to do this, but yet you don't know how the process works. I am under the assumption that the earlier you try to get in, the most likely you'll get it. And the only reason I say this is because I remembered when the Ducks, Long Island Ducks, when they opened up, people went on the site. I don't know how they knew about it. They went on the site and they got the vaccine the next day. So I am under the assumption that, to some degree, first come, first serve, take precedence. I don't know, but I will urge the members to sign up if you definitely want to get the vaccine and it's available. Sign up right away.
Ernie, what I just want to add to that, and some people may have had this thought already, but I think it's worth saying, because we don't know how that process is going to work, if someone already has an appointment for a vaccine further out, do not cancel that appointment on the hopes of being included in this opening of this lot of vaccines. If you have an appointment for March, hang on to it and see what happens first with this lot of vaccines. Do not cancel an appointment thinking you will be included or will be definitely able to get one through this, process.
I'm glad you said that, because I had the same thinking. Here you are, you're supposed to have it in March, right? You're already scheduled, and both they're putting this, which is almost like a lottery. You don't know what's going to happen. And we had the incident when they, with us, where I believe two of our social workers, and correct me if I'm wrong here, two of our social workers, they told them no. So just to play it safe, sign up. If you get taken care of, that's all great. And if you can give the courtesy to let them know that you don't need the appointment any longer for March, that would be a great thing. But this does not guarantee that everyone, because I don't know how it works, but it doesn't guarantee that everyone that submit from us is going to get the vaccine. But I still feel that, be at that phone. I remember as a kid, when you want to get tickets, you're going to sit there and you're going to have to do it. And I do apologize if it sounds a little ridiculous, but if you really want to get it, you're going to have to be attentive to it. If this comes out tomorrow night, I believe it's likely to come out tomorrow night. I'll know better later on, but if it comes out, check your email. All our members have access to their emails at home. Our BOCES email. Check the email and make sure if that email came in, then answer it. Answer it if and when, obviously, you want to make sure you participate. The good thing with it is because we've been having another issue with when a member can take go take the test? Is it going to be a sick day? Is it going to be something sponsored by BOCES? These are issues that we are actually working on right now, but this will occur next week during the break. So if we can take advantage of that, that would be a good thing.
Ernie, I just wanted to jump in and say that Val Lambert was super kind and shared the number. If you're not under that special ed umbrella, awaiting or have that email, to call the New York State Department of Health, and I put the number in the chat, and they were able to schedule, she shared it with me in the chat that they were able to talk to someone and they were able to set up appointments for about half of Republic. So please, if you don't fall under this, umbrella at this time, please call that number and check the eligibility. And so thank you, shout out to Val, thank you.
You just gotta, there's a number to call and to see how we could, because I would love to, first of all, I would love to extend this especially to the Dix Hills campus. That's where we're having most of the issues. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes, but
that's the number that you shared is the New York vaccine line. It's not like a group scheduling. They scheduled those appointments individually. It just happens to be about half of those employees.
Yeah, that's what happened. I called, I'm going to tell you, they told me to call back Thursday or Friday. I called back Friday. The guy I got on the phone was so nice. He just we kept passing the phone. Everybody was able to get on, make their appointment, reschedule, bump their appointment up. And then I've given the number out to a few people who have asked me how I got my appointment, and they have successfully gotten it. It is 10 times better than the website. I'll tell you right now, the good old fashioned telephone. And the people that are answering that hotline are extremely nice, at least my experience anyway, because I called a couple times.
Val, I'm glad you're sharing this because I have not tried to hook up, and I reach out more looking at things from a group perspective as opposed to an individual. But
if you want, but I'm telling you, you have to just keep calling. That's the only thing I recommend. I think the reason he was so successful with us because we never hung up the phone. Because other people have called and they're like, well, they said there's nothing. I said, keep calling because you're going to get through. At one point, they're going to have something. We never hung up the phone. He kept refreshing his system. Appointments kept popping up. I think that's why we've had so much success.
You're lucky. I tried that for about 6 different times at night, in the morning, and I didn't get anywhere. So I'm really glad you guys got through.
Yeah, actually, it's funny because somebody in the last meeting brought that up, that you just got to sit there and be relentless. Keep refreshing. Somebody brought it up. I don't remember who it was. That's the way they got in. And sometimes it almost seems like they bump other people, but they didn't. It happened that perhaps somebody canceled. They had cancellations and then they were able to fit you in. But you did share that number with us, right?
Yeah, no, I shared the number, and you're right. That's how I got my original appointment for March 17th, and it was online, and I kept refreshing, and it kept coming up. And then when I called last Friday, they bumped me to Saturday. I went last Saturday to the Javits. Now I'm a lot more flexible because I live in Westchester, and I'll go anywhere, but same thing. They had a bunch. People got it at the Aqueduct. Some got it at Stony Brook, some Jones Beach. So it's definitely worth just calling. Just keep calling.
Yeah. Yes, I will say this. I will say, and I agree. I don't know. I don't remember if it was you or somebody else at the last meeting brought that up. And I did know that, yes, just insist, just keep calling, and Devin said something last night that you don't really know. Devin, can you explain that a little bit? I understood you, but perhaps you could share with the members where you were talking about.
I'm not in regards to what exactly, Ernie?
Like when you go on the site and you choose a specific time.
Oh, like when you go on the site, and even if you click on a day that has appointments available, and you can see 4 or 5 appointments in front of you, and you can click on one, and by the time you finish filling out the information, they're gone. So one tip is, if you are doing that online, when you're filling out that prerequisite information, to only include the required boxes. Like there's a lot of optional information that they ask you, but you'll probably fill that out 3 more times before you actually get to the vaccine appointment. But when you're trying to get that, when you're in between clicking on the time and the confirmation, only fill out the required information.
Excuse me, I spoke to the Department of Health yesterday because I'm under quarantine again. And I asked them, I said, I had just said, my husband's been vaccinated, like over a month ago. I said, does that release you from quarantine issues and whatnot? And so far, the Suffolk County Department of Health says no. They said it still does not release you from, if you come in contact, so far, it doesn't matter. I mean, we all want the vaccine for our own protection, but according to them, if you still come in contact with someone who, you're exposed or whatnot, you still have
Yes,
to
that's
quarantine.
correct, Donna. 'Cause
Yeah.
A, they're not
I was
100%.
gonna
And
say,
B,
they don't know if you can
they don't know
carry
about
it.
the
Isn't that the
transmission.
understanding? Right.
They have not yet decided whether or not that will release you from a quarantine or anything like that, which I said, well, okay, well, that's really great. We all want the vaccine, but you're telling me that if I get the vaccine a month ago or 2 months ago, I still have to quarantine. Well,
Yes.
so far they have not changed their protocol. So I just thought I'd share that. Whether.
I don't think, I don't know, and I don't want to get into it, but I'm going to make this really quick. I don't think we still know how the vaccine works. One of their concerns is the mutations. They still not 100% sure. We just started this, 3 months ago, 3 months ago, and it's difficult to make those decisions. I would say, and I would think that's a good decision. You don't know. They don't have true facts yet. It takes a while to do it. So I would, yes, it's annoying, but we got to do it. All right, moving on. Another thing with COVID, I have to reiterate this. We said it back in the meeting in December when we were having a lot of issues, and I still believe we're going to continue to, even though the numbers are going down, we're still continuing to have an issue where you did not get a call from the Department of Health. What do? It's day 3, day 4. We recommend strongly that after 48 hours, call them. If they didn't call you, you call them. Normally the protocol was, or is, that BOCES tells you, we want you to stay home until you get a call from and you guys have gotten that call. I never did, so I can't say exactly what they say, but stay home until you hear from the Department of Health. Well, sometimes they don't call you. From what I'm learning, they don't call you. And we reiterate, if you didn't get a call within 48 hours, then you should take it upon yourself to call them, giving you a better idea as to what you need to do. In 2 or 3 cases, members had called me up and they said to me, look, I don't know what to, I said, look, I don't know what to do. I'm not privy to certain information, but what I would say, if they haven't called you, call them to make sure, because originally, and somebody may correct me on this, but I believe it was scheduled to be within 48 to 72 hours. I don't remember the exact numbers, that you would be contacted. Well, if you're not contacted, maybe they have your wrong phone number. I don't know. Maybe they screwed up. In one case, they said it. They admitted to one of our members that they lost track of this. All right. So that's why I say, please contact them if they don't reach out to you, especially now that we're having a number of incidents. Just on, I'm sure you have seen it in the reports. Ted Dix Hills is like ludicrous. Somebody came up to me and say, hey, Ernie, outside of you, who else has not been quarantined? I'm like, well, as far as I know, pretty much everybody, maybe like 2 more people. But virtually our campus is the epicenter of COVID in our agency. And this is something I know and don't use it against me, but I believe that's what it is. it's like our campus, I can't remember a week since we went back to work that at least one case was not there. We get it a lot. And in that, Holly brought up a number of points that we still need to get it clarified as to, I guess it's because of our population in particular that is creating it. And that's something that I brought up to Dr. Giganti today. Let's look at what Miss Michaels suggested. Let's look at how do we get these people, not people, but the students tested in a better way, in a more effective way. We need to come up with something to make sure, because well, the way I look at the data is it seems like it's more happening in our environment, you know, in the high school setting. When I say the high school, I'm referring to us, the way we work and the way they come to us and the way they deal with us. I don't see it happening so much in Manor Plains or Bremen. Yes, they've had their incidents, but I don't see it happening that much. The difference is that the kids that come to us are kids that are fairly more independent, meaning they can drive themselves, you know, they're considered fully functional. So that's something we really got to look at. And I believe it affects Northport, but not as extensively as it does us, the CTE campus, the Dix Hills campus. Any questions on that? I'm going to go to the next item real quick.
Ernie, I have, I just want to say something. As far as the Department of Health goes, now, if you tested positive for COVID, they're not going to send you a letter of release. They're not going to call you. You have to go on their website, because that's what I had to do in order to go back to the building, because I had COVID. I tested positive for it.
Yeah, you know, this is something I never, at this point, and I was in a meeting with LIPC and nobody could figure out.
Yeah, you have to go on the website.
Right. Look, I will tell you this, and I have to use my examples to try to handle this. I said to my wife, she was ordered to stay home. She didn't have COVID. She did not have COVID, but someone in her department had COVID. And she was sent home. And I said, don't you need to submit a letter, you know, stating, and no, they don't know, no. And then she turned around and said, look, you may need to look into this. Just have the letter so you don't have a problem. And she got the letter, but she did not need to even submit it. And we've been dealing with it. I'm not making this up. This is like stuff that
I had to submit a letter, but I had to go on the website to get it. They didn't mail it to me. They didn't, they called me the day I tested positive to ask me questions, but they never sent me a letter of release. I had to go on the website and print it out myself.
Well, you're telling me that BOCES required you to submit a letter?
Yeah, yes.
You know what? I appreciate that. Believe me, and don't get me wrong, but yes, I believe if you were in any situation like this, then you need to get a valid release to come back. When this is something that what Buffalo Hills did, when my wife did not, she did not have COVID, but you know, it's tricky. She did not have COVID, but she was in the area of people that one member had COVID. So how they handle it, if you had COVID, then yeah, I believe you definitely have to get released.
But you can't, they don't send it. You have to go on the website yourself, and members need to know this.
Right, I just, Ernie, can I just pipe in here? Yes, Kathleen is correct. They don't automatically give you a release from isolation letter, but they will send you a matter of quarantine via email. And at the bottom of that, when your 10 days is up or you're feeling better, you click on it, you have to answer a bunch of questions, and they print it out. That's a release from isolation.
Yeah.
If you're sick, you need that to return to BOCES. If you had COVID, if you're just quarantined, I went through the business of getting a release from quarantine. It wasn't necessary. That's not what's on our BOCES
Yeah.
policy.
If you're
So if you're sick, you need it. If you're quarantined, you don't.
They send you a text. Right.
Yeah.
If you're quarantined, they send you a text. In the text message, it says you are done your activities, because that's what I got, because I was quarantined 3 times without COVID.
I never got
Yeah.
a text. When I was quarantined, I
It's
was
not an email.
quarantined a while back.
They actually ask you on the first
They ask you
interview,
and they
they
text-
ask you, do you
want
want
a
to
phone
text
call
daily?
or do you want a text message?
Email.
Correct.
So
And
they
and
can
every
email
day
you
they
a text.
Yeah, they text messaged me every day, and you had to answer the text message. If you didn't answer the text message, they would call you.
Now, when they quarantined.
That's what happened.
Quarantined, the first time I was quarantined, I did not have COVID. They didn't even call me. They mailed me a release letter to go back to work, but they never called me.
Well, I had a long conversation with Dr. Giganti, and he said they were so overwhelmed after January, after New Year's, that they changed a lot of policies internally, the Department of Health, and just kind of they dropped the ball in a lot of things. So really, I guess we're just saying, kind of keep up with it, make sure you're on the ball, because they're not going to always be available for you to get letters and stuff from. So if anybody needs help with that,
Yeah.
I'm sure we can
And
find some way to get you help.
And the first time I was quarantined, when I got my negative test, I actually sent it to our principal and just to show them. But after that, they didn't require it. So it wasn't necessary, they said after that. So.
Okay, great, guys. So just understand that there's so much confusion with it. I will just say, like I said, I have not been quarantined yet. Perhaps I could be more efficient, but I rely on you guys that have been doing this to share it so that all the members understand how this thing works. And number one, I believe you need to do the right thing, right? So that we don't end up in a crazy situations later on. All right. So the vaccine thing I spoke about, Department of Health response. Yeah, you need to do it. Scholarships. The scholarships are out. We just received it this weekend. And not only, and I did ask Ms. Soma to post them on the website, but please share with the members not only the scholarship, but I just want to say that the scholarships is strictly for the children of our members. It's not available to all the students. We have a separate, not scholarship, but mechanism where we honor the students. Also, which is critical, which came up again, and I'm saying this, I'm saying it more as a reminder because we've said it before, except for the COVID item, that we just so we remember that we pay into NYSET, LIPC, AFT, we pay into all these organizations, and the little we can get back, we should try to get it back. And I'm referring to, like, for example, the military grant, the catastrophic loss grant. We have had I don't think we had too many, but since I've been here, we've had at least 2 catastrophic grants that were given to our members. I love to make sure that our members that are in need can take advantage of the things that they pay into. They contribute to keep us viable. So, Jen, I don't know when you get a chance when you can put it in, but I did share it, and I did have Lisa send it out to you.
I will post it immediately after this meeting, and I did write that in the chat.
Yeah, okay, good. Scholarship, the scholarship grant, the military grant, the catastrophic loss grant. Please take advantage of these things. You pay into it. You pay your dues. So I just wanted to make sure that I reiterated this because it was brought up over the weekend during our meeting for the LIPC. And also the COVID, look at what it says. I mean, I don't know. I normally personally don't question it, and I directly speak for the executive board where we can't dig into your life, but at least we make sure that these things are available to you. We don't know what situation you're in due to COVID. So please take advantage of it. If need be, any of us can help you to fill it out. And I believe that we would sign off on anyone, on any of these things, given where we are right now. All right, okay, elections. I just wanted, this is a standard procedure we do every year where I did not bring it up back in September because for two reasons. One, the circumstances we were in, but elections, and this this is mainly the elections for executive board. This year, given the fact that the year prior we had made adjustments or amendments to our constitution where elected positions will have a duration of 3 years, this is the neutral year. And we had the elections last year, which covered who represent us at NYSTERS, meaning the New York State Retirement System, and also it encompassed the RA, who represents the RA. Next year, we will have an election where everything falls in place. Now, here is where it's going to be a little tricky, and I'm more than glad to set up a chart where we can understand it. There's going to be a year where two representatives, when I say representative, I'm referring to positions, has to be voted on. How are we going to vote on it? I don't know how, because of the situations we're in. We'll deal with that later. Is one, the delegates, and two, well, one, the delegates to NYSTERS, and another is the delegates to the RA, meaning to NYSET RA, the convention. That will work out, but sorry. So we will have to work that out in the middle. That there's going to be where 1 year there's no election, and then the following year there are multiple elections. When I say multiple elections, I'm referring, okay, for the executive board, for NYSTERS, and for what did I just say, the RA. So just be aware of that. This year, technically, we don't have any elections. So if anyone has a question on that, I'd be more than glad to send you any information you need. Surveys, I did speak to it earlier, where we're working on it. We're going to, dissect it. The executive board is going to thoroughly look through it and get a good idea as to what we can and can't do. And then we'll move forward on that. Auditing, we're close to, and this, I will admit it, I have not met with Mr. Caddy. There are a number of things that him and I have to sit down and really iron out. I didn't get a chance today to set up an appointment so we can sit down and totally dissect where we are, one, financially, and two, where the money is being spent. but that's coming up. We have a auditing committee that meets, Ms. Moy, Mr. Spivak, and there's a young man over at the Alternative that are currently on that committee. And I have to say they've done a great job. They actually make Nick Caddy sweat. How, I don't know, but they do. So that's coming soon. We normally do it in May. And we just need to reach out to them to see what they need to do. We need to sit down to figure out where the books are at, what has to be done. So just to make you aware that we need to be audited, and that's going to be done. Normally it occurs in May, but I'm just giving everyone a heads up now. Lobby Day is coming up. This is how it's going to work. I don't know. I did have a conversation with Angelique Dingle regarding this, and I am confused. It's going to occur roughly right after we come back from break. I tried to meet with her today. I couldn't because she had a ton of meetings. I do invite members. I would love to, and I perhaps may call another meeting just to explain this. But I love when members get a chance to take the opportunity to talk to the legislators. You know exactly what's going on. This is very confusing to me. When I say confusing, it's like, okay, we're going to do it through Zoom. When other meetings are. In past years, we have done it where it's one day. You go, you meet with the legislators, you give them your complaints, you know, Dennis DeBrew used to say this, you schmooze with them. But I don't know how it's going to work this year. I just hope that we can have a way to work this out. My hope is tomorrow I can meet with her and figure out what they're doing. They are, I don't know, BOCES is thinking of exposing our students. I don't know how to do it. I need to talk to the executive board as to what they think about it, but I don't know. Unless I talk to her tomorrow, I get a chance tomorrow to talk to her and figure this out. I don't know how to invite other members to be on board. It was great in the sense that you bring, you know, any member and they can voice their opinion. And wait a minute, the one that I love that always goes was Ms. Skidmore. Ms. Skidmore, are you here? Or you went home? Ms. Skidmore? Oh, she's gone. Okay. But,
No, I'm here, Ernie. I'm here.
yeah, we've taken you to Lobby Day, right?
Yeah, I've gone to the previous years. Yes, I have.
Oh, how do you find that?
Well, besides being very tired from getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning,
I'm sorry.
I like it. I feel empowered. You know, I'm up in Albany. I'm in the state capitol. I'm talking to the legislators. It's empowering. Your voice is heard.
No. I brought you up because you've been on a number of expeditions up there where you're willing to speak for everyone. And that's an encouragement that we've always had for the members. You know, hey, be part of the crew. It's one day. But anyway, we don't know where that's going to go. I will talk to Ms. Dingle to figure out how we pull this off. All right. And what are the priorities? I still don't even have the priorities. And I know, guys, the executive board is going to be on my case when I don't have the priorities that we have. You know, and I hope others that have never been there understand that it also has to do with Eastern. We normally tag team with Eastern, and they have certain priorities in place, and they dominate. well, we need to make sure that our priority takes place equally as their priorities take place. All right. Okay. Committee reports. Okay. Actually, I didn't say it yet, but retirement. Back on Monday, Phyllis did a meeting with our potential retirees. Phil, can you share with us how it went, or?
It went very well. Forgive me if somehow one email that I sent out to about 3 people didn't get it. But ours, let me finish. Ours went very well. A number of you were there. Beth was good. We didn't have the books in hand, but we gave out the electronic handbooks from the retirement system. We got the books, the hardbound, in the office today. So for those of you who came, I'll be sending it inter-office to you, the hardbound. So you have both the electronic and the hardbound. For people that missed it, I sent the electronic version from NYSET to every one of the reps. So if people would like to go, March 3rd is closed out, but the other March is open. Did all of you get the email that I sent for the second NYSET workshop? Anybody not get it?
We got it, Phyllis.
Okay, so that again, we had, I think everybody, Teresa, who number of you were there, I thought it was very positive.
Yeah, it was very informative.
Beth is new at it, but she was good.
Yeah, it was informative. It helped a lot of your guidelines, just the how-tos, helped people that were, even if you're not considering retiring right now, it was very helpful to just do some of your planning and know how to do your planning, how all the different options of how you take your benefits and who your beneficiaries should be, checking your own paperwork in the My NYSET. I think that's helpful.
Again, well, thank you. Again, please make sure and pass this on to the rest of the staff. Make sure that your beneficiary, and I say this 2 and 3 times a year, make sure that your beneficiaries are up to date. If you got married, unfortunately, if you got divorced, if there were life-changing situations, please make sure that your beneficiaries are up to date. Beth was good, and she zeroed it in for BOCES. The NYSET one will be the same thing. Beth is doing it with Ron, but it won't be geared just to BOCES. They were very good and did it for us. On the second part of it, where, as Ernie said, we're working on individuals that we think might want to retire, and see if we can get information to you. The second thing is, I'm trying to reach Sal. Since we had the first thing with the retirees, it also falls in with the 403B. So Sal does not do a cell job, but he will come in and give information. So I'm working, with his office to find out when we'll be doing a virtual with him. Third thing is, we were going to run, and hopefully we're still going to run, a webinar, call it a webinar, from NYSET Social Services on February 24th on anxiety and stress. Annie is wonderful. Unfortunately, Annie is sick this week. So I'm still hoping that we have it the 24th, but I told them I have to get notices out to you guys by Friday because we're going to be off next week. So tentatively, if I get the notice out to you by Friday that we're still on, we're still on. If not, I said it's fine. We'll put it off for, a week or whatever, so that everybody gets notice, because this workshop is out of this world. It really is. She is wonderful. Ernie?
Phil, I'm sorry, somebody had a question for me?
No, I'm on.
Oh, Phil, I don't want to put you on the spot, or Devin, and I believe Holly. If any one of you can elaborate how much, how good meeting with, this representative could be. I mean, I know you summarized, but if anyone could elaborate on it, the value of it, the significance.
We've been doing this for a number of years, and everybody who's come, Ralph, you were there, Teresa, you were there, Donna, you were there. everybody, in their own way has found that it's a positive experience. We were there until 6:30 at night. And she was very good to answer questions. She gave her email so that if anybody still has questions, she'll answer that. She brings forth, possible amounts of salary and what the amount you might get and.
No, I'm referring to the second part, to get.
With Sal?
No, with,
With NICET?
I'm sorry?
With the second NICET meeting?
Yes.
For
talking about
anybody who
last
missed
meeting?
it's going to be the same thing as what Beth did. It will be with Beth and Ron Gross, run by NICET, but not geared toward BOCES.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Yes, it is positive. Yes, it is excellent. If anybody missed it, please let me know and I'll send you the information so that you can attend because it's signed up very quickly.
It works out very nicely. And thanks, Phil, that you were able to organize that and get it pulled off. Just FYI, we in the next few days, weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending on where we are, we'll be sending out to members that are eligible for retirement. We just let them know where they are. We don't know how we are going to organize with BOCES so that someone will figure it out, but so that the members can actually sit down and get members to understand the difference between resigning for the purpose of retiring and what they need to do with the retirement system. And I believe—
Ernie, excuse me, one other thing, I apologize. Everybody in our place usually knows, but we have the in-house conferences with the retirement board at Wheatley. So, but you have to, and they're taken up very quickly. So call the retirement system to find out when you can have a virtual meeting with them. They're wonderful. Sorry, Aaron.
No problem. No, I'm glad you're making sure you bring it up. Yes, you're referring to, like, it used to be the teleconference.
Yeah, it's a virtual teleconference. Not sure exactly how they're still working it, whether you go to Wheatley. We have it at Wheatley. But I'll get the number again. I'll give them, I'll pass the number out, but they're booked up very, very fast, probably until March. So if you're contemplating retiring, or even if you're contemplating retiring within the next 5 years, you should do 2 or 3 virtual meetings with them.
I did it last
Teleconference
year,
with them.
so
It's a live person.
Yeah, I did it last year. I did 2 of them already. And pre-COVID, I did the Wheatley Heights one, where you go into the little room and they talk to you, but everything is your specific needs. So it's your data, your needs related to who your beneficiaries are, how old they are, who you want.
And you bring a spouse if you have.
And then last year when I did it, they did it online with me. They didn't do they weren't quite ready for Zoom at that point, but they did a phone call and then he sent me all my data and then he called me back and we went over the data.
So now I think they're on Zoom, so
now they're on Zoom. I think this was like last March.
But they book up quickly. There aren't that many people that do it. So please call the retirement system. I'll get the phone number. Those of you that have the electronic book, it's in the back. And you do it, do it 2, 3, 4 times.
Yeah.
Great, thanks. And as Phil said earlier, well, we got some booklets. I actually were looking through them. They put it on my chair. I didn't know what Phil did, but I guess she ordered them. And I'm looking, I said, wow, this is so informative. And it's simple. I mean, I don't know, you, Phil, you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
It takes you step by step, all right, to do
and
it.
all of the forms are in the back.
Yes.
All of your choices are in the back, whether, it's full, whether it's pop-up, you can make your own. Just the biggest thing is you cannot change what you have decided 30 days after you retire. And again, what Ernie said, please, you resign in order to retire and it has to be within 24 hours. The only thing for those of you who came is she was talking about turning in the resignation in the beginning of June. Most of our people do it the last week of June to June 30th. Method to the madness is if there is legislation coming up and you put it in earlier and the legislation comes up, then you may not be eligible for legislation. So, I have never heard it that you put in the papers in the beginning of June or retire, telling BOCES is one thing, but the retirement system still is, toward the end. And the other thing is we had a discussion for some individuals whose birthdays are in September, October, November. So there are things to work out with that.
Great, thanks, Phil. And just a quick reminder on retiring. I know you may, as reps, get a member saying, hey, I believe it's Hackman and somebody else put in legislation to do early retirement incentive. I read through it. I've been reading through this for the past 10 years, where it happens every year, but it never comes.
Beth said most likely it's going nowhere.
It never does. It's been for the past 10 years. It never does. That's my experience. You know it, Phil, that every year they put this and it gets into committee, but that's where it dies, in committee. So just so you know, if you get hearing this, look, you know what? Look out, but it's less likely to happen.
We wish it would, but those of you who heard Beth, she said, most likely not.
Yeah, and I did share with you the legislation that I got a copy of it, but that's the same legislation I get every year. It's literally exactly the same, except that the name is different. In other words, which legislator proposed it. So they just, I don't know. So just be aware if members saying, oh, wow, I heard of this incentive for 25 and 55. You don't know. It's simple. You don't know. And as far as you know, this is something that's put out every year. I can send you other copies that I have, that it's put out every single year. It gives people hopes, but it never happens. It never comes out. That's been the case. So make it simple. We have to forge 100% ahead when it comes to the retirement system. Okay. Committee reports outside Phil. I know she said what she had to say. Anyone else have some information to share with us?
Ernie, just real quick, we had an EAP committee meeting. Please remember that EAP is free and available to you and your families. The information is on our website if you click on helpful employee links. And they can help with a whole host of issues. It's free, it's confidential. It could be related to work, not related to work. It's you, it's your family. We're all going through, what we're going through, but they have, even if you go to our website and click the link, they have helpful videos, coping with stress, working from home. Please remember this is a resource available for us and our members, and just share that information. That EAP is definitely available to us. They do teletherapy, they'll do teletherapy appointments, but it's free, it's confidential, and it's for us and our families. So just please pass that on to members.
It's also for extended families. They're very good that way. I had a relative in Jersey. They will network and give you the information. As Jen said, they're not doing person-to-person meetings, but they are, you call in and then they'll do a video and they'll make recommendations. And I've been sending their videos out, the virtuals out. They're very good.
Yeah, there's great videos on their site just to check out.
Yeah. And the other thing is, besides our EAP, NYSET Social Services, for more general, Ani is out of this world. I told you she saved one of my members $75,000 because she was able to work with cancer care and with CSEA and with the disability department. So NYSET's Social Services up in Albany, 1-800-342-9810 is an excellent resource. Sorry, Jen.
Okay, no problem. Sorry.
And Ernie, yes, can I just read into the minutes as well? I attended a fiduciary class through NICET via Zoom. Basically just a class that I attend yearly that, just up to date fiduciary responsibilities and just kind of like a refresher, of things to make sure you're doing and not do and things like that. Stay updated on, the treasury side.
Hey, can I also, I just want to touch on the agency-wide water testing report that came out. There was a number of receptacles that were deemed high for lead content. 10, there was 36 tested in total with higher levels. 10 were deemed to be potable, so that is drinking water, maybe kitchen. In those buildings, there was 2 in Manor Plains, 1 in James Allen Elementary, 2 in Junior Senior, 4 Wilson Tech in Building A, and 1 in McGuire Hall. So for these potable receptacles, they were taken offline, they were shut down. They are scheduled to be remediated, which basically means the parts are going to be taken out, new parts can be put in. They get retested by the same company that tested them previously, and then once approved, they get back online. There was, when we spoke to Mr. Flynn, for some schools, having a water contractor bringing in potable water will be one type of a strategy to help with that. Other buildings will not have that sort of thing, like in Junior Senior. 2 of the receptacles are around the gymnasium, but we have 4 all around us. So we're going to be covered enough based on that. So it's not going to be that difficult to cover the also, Republic and Lincoln will not be on that report because they are not BOCES owned. This report you can find on the Western Suffolk BOCES website as well. So if you want to just go into the search, go for water testing, and we'll pop up with the results. Also, we had a meeting based on 12/31. So New Year's Eve, we had a meeting with Mr. Flynn. We discussed a number of things, but one of those was kind of like to bring up the an awareness initiative for BOCES to just sort of reinvigorate, all the protocols and reminders that we're not out of this, even though the vaccine is being distributed and, warmer weather is on the way and levels are going down, but we still have to keep up our guard. So you may have seen like an uptick in signage in your building. Masked heroes, watch out for COVID-19 symptoms, stay healthy. There's a number of signs out there that's being in the building. And also you may have noticed that your screensaver may have those strategies as well. So it's social distancing, hand washing, face masks, things like that. So if you see these things, just be conscious of that because it is part of the stuff that we worked on, and 507 and mainly Nancy Fraschetti has been coming through with us to promote this, not just for our members, but for on a student level and for a parent level as well. I also want to, just take a moment here to thank Ernie for pushing that COVID, the vaccine survey. He did a real good job with that to expedite that, to work with Mr. Flynn, and there were many, many happy members today in our building. So I just wanted everyone to know that Ernie did a great job on our behalf to get that out there. So thank you, Ernie.
Anytime, please. That's my responsibility. As Nick always say, fiduciary responsibilities. No, I do. And FYI, and I'll say this, and I apologize to the executive board the way I reacted last night. But at no point I was, I just go crazy when we can do better and we don't. All right. I'm not going to get into what we discussed last night, but just so you know, and Larry, I just want you to understand that's our responsibility to make sure that we keep, given how big we are and the particular, not customers, but the particular populations that we have to be proactive in helping or assisting our members that needs to protect themselves. Okay, before we open up the question, I just want Nick to do the budget report, and then everyone, please feel free to ask any questions you need to ask so we can address them.
Sure. Okay. So the Treasury report is should be in your email that had this link attached to it. Just need that looked over for approval in a second. And then just to give an update, we had one of our CDs mature, and rates right now are awful. I mean, they're just awful. So we are, we're going to stay in the same bank, and we're going to roll over for a year and see what rates look like then.
First, Nick, did I lose you guys?
I can't prove my own.
We're all here.
I approve it.
That was Kathleen with the first.
Mm-hmm.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Marianne, thank you.
Thanks, guys. And I'm not, a couple of things I did not mention up front, but number one, seniority list. We're in the process of getting a copy of it, and we will send it out as we normally do to every member in a particular subject area, so they can review it and see where they are. I just want to mention something. When it comes to TNC, we've made significant progress. I did receive the board minutes today, and there were a number of concerns that we did address, I believe like 3 or 4 weeks ago, on members where it seems to be falling through the cracks. I mean, some of us are aware of some situations that are don't seem kosher, but some of the TNCs did sign an agreement with the agency where they waive certain rights. And we're addressing that to try to work with them. But for all the members that were, be it TNC in the past, and they become probationary or are now it's called professional, we're looking into it. We will be sending out the seniority list very soon. And if there are issues, please let us know so we can correct it as soon as we possibly can. I'm hoping to get it by next week, and we will send it out as soon as we can vet it and make it 100% significant to the best of our knowledge.
Honey, I just have a quick question before we close.
Sure.
I'm looking at the scholarships, and I will certainly post those on the website as soon as we wrap up. I also noticed that there is some information here from the Long Island Teachers Benevolent Fund. Am I also, do we want to touch on that? Am I going to post that?
Well, which one? I did ask just to send the which one. Believe me, and when it comes to the LITBF, it's like 100 things we deal with. And I don't know if perhaps.
Okay, the Long Island Teachers Benevolent Fund, I have an emergency financial grant application. I have a military service grant application, and I have a burial award application.
Absolutely, yes. Those are the ones. There should be about 5 of them that I asked. We did it before, and the new one is the COVID. But absolutely, they should be made available to all the members. And as I said earlier, look, we pay into this fund. And if we have a member that, you know, due to COVID, I don't know people's lives, you know, they're struggling right now because perhaps the spouse lost their job and they're struggling. That's what this is for, to help them. It's not going to solve their problem, but it will help. So I made sure that we're going to post all of them. I sent it out to every member and to every RA to, as best they can, to distribute it to the members to make sure they're aware that we are here for them. So absolutely, absolutely. All that should be going out to the members.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, who's,
Hi, Teresa.
hi.
How was our response from our members in relation to the contract surveys? Was
I am telling you,
20%, 50%? Like,
well, I can't tell you the percentages, but I will tell you, we went from the day we announced to do it from 3 to 4 to all of a sudden, I'm like, holy crap, what the hell is this? It's like a book where members, but I'm saying it flat out, we have not literally looked at it. Earlier today, I was talking to Lisa and I said, look, you're going to have to work overtime because we're going to have to really sit down and go through this and dissect what's important. Then we got to come back to the board and make sure everything is in place. Then we can write a proposal. But I would say that the response, just looking at the thickness, was at least maybe 100 members that responded back, which, you know, I don't know what the repeats are, but I would say it was, I was glad I got the response. I think the response was good, but I'm only speaking from just looking at the packet. Do I make any sense? I didn't count.
I understand. I was just curious because that was my first question. And my second one was, and I don't know if anyone else has heard anything. And, you know, rumors are rumors, not necessarily true. But I've heard that there's a lot of younger members, and I say younger, people who are at the beginning of their career, I don't mean your age, that are very upset with the union.
In what respect?
They, you know, I inquired into that area, like for more detail. Some of the questions that I found, the reasons they were upset weren't necessarily union related issues. So what made me start thinking about that was their lack of education as to what their union really, their purpose is of their union. That was one thing. The other thing was some of it was COVID related, and obviously that's going to trickle in many different ways. If you're having a personal issue, how the building responds to COVID, how they get quarantined, how some, you know, or is the building safe, those type of things. But one thing, a couple things that concerned me that I heard, and I was just wondering if anybody else is hearing anything, was that I really don't think the union has value for me, and I'm not sure if I want to be a member anymore. That came to my attention, and it could have been someone just being angry, you know, voicing, but I was wondering if anyone else is hearing this, you know, in any of the things they're hearing from anyone, but it seemed like it was really related to people that had just started out in their career.
Okay, I just want to say this. For me personally, to interpret it, and anyone from the executive board can interject on it, given where we are and dealing with, especially because of COVID, and when do you close, when do you not close? Well, we have been doing our due diligence to make sure that we protect the members. I have been on the phone, I personally, with Mike Flynn at 9, 10 o'clock at night. Wait a minute, we need to work this out. We've been working things out. Now, what's difficult is to tell you every single details. How do I reach you and 300-400 members in one night with what happens in exposition, and everything has to adhere to what you're directed to do. All right. Some members think, and I love the fact that you brought this up. I've gotten a number of calls that said to me, hey, Ernie, they should close. Look, we have, and I'm not making this up. This is a true story.
Sure, yeah.
I'm sorry?
I'm sure. Yeah,
And-
I felt it was a lack of I don't want to say education, but a lack of awareness on their part as to what the union's role was and what their role would be then to find out information.
I will tell you this, the executive board and you guys, meaning our reps, make me abundantly clear when is it that something seemed abnormal, and we react immediately. We've had a number of cases, and I have 2 cases that are very interesting. No, I'm not putting the member under the bus, but I'm going to say this. I'm not using names, but I had one particular situation where we had a member that is, 1, new to us, and 2, I don't want to say young member, but new to us, okay? And I believe it's right during New Year's, all right? And this is where it's tricky. And how to answer someone, it's difficult, but I have to share it so hopefully people can see where perhaps the misunderstanding is. The member comes up, they give me a call at 8 o'clock at night, and they're saying, you know, BOCES should close. I have COVID, and they're quarantining me, and there were 2 other cases in the building. Now, they were not looking at what the Department of Health says you can do. What's interesting, I'm saying, look, I don't know 100% right now how it works, but I'm going to make sure I look into it and make sure we do what we have to do. Now, interesting enough, I called somebody else that before I called Mike Flynn that night. It was like about 8 o'clock. Say, what's going on? Is there something, and is there something going on in the building that we, no, I said, well, I just got a call from this member. I haven't spoken to Mike Flynn, but before I talk to him, I want to learn. It turns out that this member had a party and posted it on, this is true facts, posted it on social media. And it turns out that you could see them having a great time. They do this, I don't know, I don't use social media. It was, what is it called? Facebook, Mike's Facebook. They posted their video. The person says, dude, I'm looking at a video. They're having a super party the weekend when they reported that they got COVID the 3rd day. Now you're telling me that I need to call Mike Flynn and ask him to close the school? When you cause the problem, it's a little bit hard. It's a little bit difficult when somebody expects you because they screwed everything up. And even BOCES remaining open, they're not violating the law. They're not circumventing, you know, what the requirements are. They're not trying to not keep people safe. But you were looking at it because you did not have the number of sick days that would protect you. And I did, and I will say this, and you may think it's the wrong thing. I looked into the background of this member. This member did not even have enough sick days or whatever it would take to cover them. So it makes it tricky. How do we protect someone when they themselves are not abiding by the rules? And they're expecting that I'm going to make an argument with the agency. I will, believe me, I do it every single time. But it's not just, well, yeah, I partied last weekend, but Monday I'm sick, so thereby you need to shut everything down so I don't get impacted. I'm sorry, but to answer that question in a valid way, I would say, then give us, where is it that we're missing? Just send us an email or send us something that we could truly look at it and understand what you're talking about. Because there are a lot of misconceptions and a lot of misunderstanding. You need to directly ask the questions before making the decisions. And you need to ask us the question, not Johnny, that I mean, I'm sure, and I don't know, but I'm going to speculate, which I normally don't do, that member said so many members, look, hey, I have COVID. There's another class with COVID. They should close the school, where they were looking at it solely in their perspective, not what matters for all of us. Did I semi-answer the question? I know.
I just wanted to jump in. It's Jen. I just also wanted to say, this has been a really challenging year for us, to meet. Typically a new person comes, we welcome them, we do, what is the union? We would stop down to their room or office or whatever it may be. And it's just, that's definitely a challenge, I think, for, the board and the reps to welcome new members, explain, what we do. So there is definitely that personal meeting to meeting part that I think is missing and can definitely speak to any kind of disconnect, but, inviting them to your meetings and, sharing what we do, sharing this information. I mean, the more we can educate people, the more we can,
Jen, this was not really me reflecting on saying that the executive board or anyone on this is doing anything other than their 100%. This was more a mentality of some new members that I was concerned about. Well, moving forward, we don't want our members having a mentality that they really don't feel or need the union has value. So it's just something to kind of keep on the back burner. If I was the only one who experienced this person's irate tyrant conversation, and it was only coming maybe from one person, then maybe one person just has a point of view.
Well,
versus
Teresa,
or other people hearing this in general.
Yeah, well, one thing, this is Anthony DeGore, one thing to kind of piggyback off of is, so there are a lot of young members. I guess I can consider myself one too. I've only been teaching 7 years. I think there's just a little bit of, some young members have come to me and been like, well, why do we make less money than teachers who have been teaching after like 2014? So there is a little bit of like a disconnect or an understanding of not like, I guess having like, it's a full grasp of like, why this or why that and stuff like that.
I can answer this question. It's a very simple question to answer. Before we say this, the way I would answer this question is, can you explain to me which district that we cover your salary is not compatible with? None of these members is making less than the average of our component districts. So I'm not sure what the comparison is. If I'm working for 30 years and I make 100,000 and you've been working for 10 years and you're making 30,000, I'm not sure what the argument is. Are you expecting to make the same? I'm not sure.
My only thing is what people have said to me who have been hired prior to 2014 is if you're doing the same job as someone and you're 7 years in, the salary should be the same. That's what they've said to me. I'm not complaining. I have a job. I'm making money.
Well, okay. But what I would say this, if we look at the increment, all right, this is something perhaps you and I'd be more than glad to explain that to you.
Yeah, that's perfect, Ernie. Like I said, I'm just relaying the message.
No, which is quick. If that's a big concern, I am more than willing to have the executive board meet with them and give them the delineation when it comes to percentage on how it works with the scale.
Awesome. That would be, yeah, we can talk in the future. That's awesome. Thank you.
I'm sorry?
I said, no, that sounds awesome. We can definitely talk.
We can do that. Please do something, meet with the executive board, where show what does it mean in numbers. And in order to make us continue to be viable, and I'm going to make this quick so we can go on to the next question. In order to make us viable, we have to make decisions that perhaps members may not like, but it ensures that we're in existence. I believe I mentioned Hopog opened up a contract to do give back. I mean, what that means, I don't know, nor do I want to know it exists, but I did mention that. So sometimes you have to make certain moves to keep things progressing. And if we got you on board and we're going to make sure we protect you and we help you, then you have to also take that under consideration, but perhaps you don't know. Again, it's a lack of perhaps knowing, and I agree. So that's something we're going to address at a later time. You and I, you can call me and we'll have a conversation and we'll
Yeah, for sure, Ernie. Like I said, it's just one example of maybe there being a disconnect. When you see a pay scale and people hired prior to 2014 making more than you doing the same job, as a younger member, you may be like, "Whoa, what's the difference?" And then, like you said, there's
But one thing, if you plan to be here long term, you will notice progressively, if you look at the charts, and I'm going to let this go and we can sit down and talk about it, especially with these individuals, those that feel that way. If you look progressively, you continue with your 2%. Those members are going down 1.5, 1.2. Their percentages are going down. So ultimately, if you plan to make it to the end, technically you're going to come out ahead because you're always going to maintain that higher percentage. That's something to talk about later.
For sure.
I'll explain that. Sorry. More questions? Sorry, Ms. Delapi. Did I answer you a little bit when? Yes.
I was just really asking the other members here if they're having similar questions come their way. And it seems like there is at least some level of it. There's some truth to it, that maybe it's something we just want to think about, how we can engage our younger members and have them be wanting to be involved in the union and see value in the union. Anthony brought up a point. There's a concern there. There's a question. And it doesn't seem like really people are bringing any of those real questions to any of us. They're just kind of on the back burner complaining about it and then saying, well, I don't really think the union has any value to me anymore. And maybe I'm not going to be a union member. And that's not what we want. And I'm not saying there's a large group of people leaving the union. I'm just bringing it up because someone brought up this to me and their comment was, well, there's a lot of us that think this way. And I said, oh, well, this is the first time hearing of it. Thank you for sharing. So one of the things we do is we have RA meetings and we share a lot of great information there. And I went through and explained a lot of the things, but their mentality was, yeah, this is stupid. It has no value for me. So I'm just sharing that because I thought it's important for me to share that at this point. And it could just be that one person's frustrated point of view, because obviously there weren't 12 people standing around. It was just one person speaking to me.
No, actually, I'm glad you said that. And I am more than willing to, obviously we can't meet in person to, look at each other's face directly and address it. But I am more than glad if people have concerns or if we need to set up a Zoom meeting that will address why are you part of the union. I believe we sent that out a while. We do send out when they first come. We send out. I have Lisa send out. These are the.
Yeah, but to be honest, I remember when I got that. I don't think I've ever read it.
Okay, but again,
I remember that one 33 years ago. I don't think I've ever looked at it. But you do get involved, and I think speaking to the executive board and speaking to the reps is where you really gather your information and learn those things. And if these people are disconnecting for some reasons, maybe we need to do, like I said, have an educational Zoom about why your union has value and, answer those type of questions that people have. It might help them to recognize that maybe this year you're not thrilled with some things, but overall, this is why it's so beneficial for you.
And I agree. And I'll make sure that Lisa have this written down. And if we need to set up another meeting where we can beg them to be here and hear and we address the values and more importantly, express their concerns.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I'm more than willing to do it. I'm more than willing to, hear every single person. And the executive board would love that because that would make us more effective. More able to provide services that they need. Keep in mind, we're all in the same boat. The difference is we all have different needs. And given that the case, how can we address it? We're going to have to figure out a way to address it. So I agree with you and we'll do it. We will look, Lisa, please make sure I get a note to that. And we will make sure we address that. I'm glad you told me. I say this because I get a number of people that give me, I don't need to be part of the union. But all the benefits goes to them. You know, it's weird, but it's good that we will open it up. Everybody knows what it is. So we'll set that up. I promise you, we'll set it up soon. Just bear with me because we when it comes to negotiation,
Well, that's a priority.
we
Absolutely.
put a lot of focus on it. We don't want
I'm
to.
just saying that this might be something we look at yearly or something somehow to,
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
maybe increments of it, like maybe just an initial meeting of some point, you know, down the road. I don't think, I think just that education value, it seems like there's definitely a disconnect. I know when Jill and I did our RA meeting, a week ago or two, I was like, okay, good. There's the same 5 people we always see. Good. You know?
We're going to work on that.
Yeah.
Any more questions? I know anywhere. Guys, Nick is going to turn around and call the meeting. No more questions? Please, we're here. Just, you know, throw it out now so that we can deal with it at a later time. Okay, well, there are no questions. Nick, will you call the meeting?
Yes, motion to adjourn.
Motion seconded.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, guys. And please, just real quick, now that I saw Donna Levine, please, the Unit 9, just please, those items that are screwed up in your payroll, please get it to us. Don't get frustrated. Don't keep saying we're not, it takes time, but we are proactive on it. I believe we took care of your situation, and if we didn't, say it now. In terms of the sick COVID, whatever that garbage is, I'm sorry.
Actually, I have no idea.
Well, I brought it up, so it should have been taken. Just check your records, your
So far, I'm still in like crazy negative sick bank. So, but they're still paying me. So.
Okay. No, main thing is that you get paid. Then we will decipher what the problem is. So, guys, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you that you were here. Please stay safe and make sure we all remember that we're in it together. And it's the only way we can get out of it together. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, stay safe, everyone.
Thank
Be
you.
well.
Night, everyone.
I am muted. Executive board, are we staying on? Doesn't look like it.
Can we stay for a second?
Yes, I just need to stop our live. So just everybody.
Let me get out of here.
Board, pause.
I gotta get out of here.